It's funny. For something we use every single day, like picking a toothbrush, it can actually be surprisingly complicated.
It really is.
You sent us on a deep dive into this Oral-B Genius X Limited, and just looking at this Amazon page, it's like a masterclass in marketing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see just how much information is packed into a single page, isn't it?
Yeah.
It speaks volumes about how reliant we've become on online research before we buy just about anything these days.
Absolutely. And this page, it doesn't waste any time, right? Like artificial intelligence, it's front and center.
Yeah.
This is going to revolutionize how we brush our teeth. But I mean, let's be honest, is AI in a toothbrush actually groundbreaking? Or is this just really clever marketing?
Well, I think the truth often lies somewhere in the middle, you know? We see AI becoming more and more common, but it's often way more subtle than we might initially realize.
Right.
So in this case, like the Genius X, what it uses is motion sensors to analyze your brushing.
Huh.
So think of it kind of like having like a tiny little coach observing your every move as you're brushing.
Okay, so it's not quite sentient, not making decisions for us yet.
Right, exactly. So the AI comes in by processing the data from those sensors and then providing, personalized feedback and guidance through the app. So it's about using tech to try to improve your brushing habits over time.
Interesting. So there is some substance to the AI claim then.
Yeah.
At least on the surface.
Yeah.
On the surface.
It's definitely, at least, they're trying to use AI in a way that makes sense. Whether it lives up to the hype or not, that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
We're going to have to see what users actually say to really get the full picture there.
We've got to dive into those reviews.
Exactly. Get the real scoop.
Real world experiences can really make or break those marketing promises.
And speaking of marketing, I mean, this page is practically glowing with another tactic, right? Prime exclusive deal.
Oh, yeah.
50% off, but you got to be a Prime member. I mean, that's a pretty significant discount.
It is. And, it highlights a really smart strategy that companies use to kind of leverage the psychology of sunk costs,
Oh, yeah.
We've all been there. We pay for Prime,
Yeah.
and then we feel like, well, I got to use it. I
Right.
got to get my money's worth.
Even if it means, buying things that we didn't necessarily need in the first place. Amazon knows this.
Right.
And they capitalize on it by offering these exclusive deals that make us feel like, oh, yeah, my membership is paying off.
Right. Like I'm getting a deal.
Exactly.
It's like they're playing chess with our subconscious, I think.
They really are. It's subtle, but man, is it effective
Yeah.
at influencing our spending habits.
Totally. Okay, so we've got AI coaching, we've got Prime perks, but what about the actual user experience?
Right.
That's where things get really interesting because the reviews for this toothbrush are all over the place.
Yeah, it's like they say, the proof is in the pudding, or I guess in this case, the brushing.
Yeah, exactly. And the first thing that jumped out to me was just the sheer range of opinions on the cleaning power. Like some people, they're like, this is a life-changing experience, and then others are like, meh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good reminder that even with something, as seemingly objective as like how clean your teeth are,
Right.
people's experiences can be surprisingly different.
Yeah.
What one person thinks is, a really thorough, amazing clean, someone else might be like, it's fine.
Right.
And that could be due to all sorts of things, different brushing habits, different teeth sensitivity, even just, their expectations going in.
Totally. And it makes me think about, like, some of these reviews mentioned battery life impacting performance.
Oh, interesting.
Apparently the cleaning power can, like, go down as the battery gets low.
Oh, wow. See, that's something you see with, rechargeable devices sometimes.
Yeah.
Like our phones, the last 10%, it just doesn't have that same
Never the same.
oof to it. Interesting that it's happening with a toothbrush, though.
Right.
You'd think with a premium product like this, they would have figured out how to make the battery output more consistent.
Right. You don't want it, like, slowing down on you mid-brush.
Right.
Speaking of speed, can we talk about the noise level?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because several users, they were like, this is surprisingly loud.
Yeah, that seems to be a pretty common comment. It makes you wonder if maybe, like, during the design process, they just, like, prioritize power over, like, acoustics.
Right.
Like, I don't know, maybe a more powerful motor just inherently creates more noise.
Like they went with a sonic boom approach to brushing.
Right, exactly. But all jokes aside, I mean, it is worth noting that, sound noise perception, it's subjective.
Totally.
What one person finds unbearable, another person might not even register.
Right.
It all depends on, your own sensitivity and your personal preferences.
Absolutely. Yeah. And speaking of preferences, let's talk about this app, because this is where those AI features, they really kind of come into play.
Okay.
And the reviews, I don't know. I think polarized is maybe the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Because some people, they love the detailed tracking, the personalized recommendations. They're like gamifying their oral hygiene.
It's that whole quantified self trend.
Oh, yeah.
People track their steps, they track their sleep, they track their calories.
Right, yeah.
So why not, track your brushing?
Right.
For some people, it's motivating. Gives them a sense of control, a sense of progress.
Right. But then there's the other side of the coin.
Exactly. Yeah, there's always another side, right?
Yeah.
And some people, they find the app clunky. They find it inaccurate.
Right.
And to be honest, a little invasive,
Yeah.
They start to question, do we really need this level of data collection in something as simple as brushing my teeth?
Right, exactly.
And it does raise those valid concerns about data privacy and how much information we're comfortable sharing, even with something that seems as harmless as a toothbrush.
Right. Like, just because you can track it doesn't mean you should.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it speaks to that larger trend of, appification. This idea that everything needs an app, even if it doesn't really need an app.
Right.
It's like sometimes a simple analog solution is really all you need.
I like that. Although I will admit, even I was getting little, I don't know, sucked into the digital whirlwind of this product page.
I get it, yeah.
Because I'm researching toothbrushes, and then all of a sudden I'm down this rabbit hole of similar items.
Oh, for sure.
Like high-tech dental floss and water picks with Bluetooth.
Oh yeah, that's Amazon's subtle genius at work, that it's similar item section. They have mastered the art of targeted recommendations.
Totally.
They use your browsing history, they use your past purchases to create this web of tempting suggestions, and honestly, it is so effective at keeping us engaged, and let's be honest, spending more money.
They really do. They know how to push our buttons.
They do, they absolutely do. And it's not just the algorithms at play here.
Okay.
Don't forget about the power of visuals too.
Right.
For example, notice how in that add to order section for the toothbrush, they show that really sleek travel case.
Oh, you're right. I didn't even notice that before, but now that you mention it, it's very strategically placed.
Very strategically placed.
Yeah.
Because even in, a text-heavy environment like an Amazon page, images are so persuasive.
Yeah.
And so that travel case is being presented as this added bonus, right? It's subtly saying, this is a toothbrush for people who are on the go.
Right.
People who value convenience, maybe even a little bit of luxury.
They're selling us a lifestyle.
Exactly.
It's not just a toothbrush.
Exactly.
And you know what? I'm buying it. I suddenly feel the urge to just upgrade my entire oral hygiene routine.
Right. And I think that's a good cue for us to take a step back for a second.
I look at the bigger picture here, right? We've been really deep in the weeds on this specific toothbrush.
Right.
But this deep dive, it's uncovered some really interesting insights about online shopping more broadly,
Totally, yeah. We've covered AI, Prime perks, the good, the bad, the ugly of user reviews, the allure of targeted advertising. We even touched on the subliminal power of visuals.
That's we've given everyone a crash course in how to understand the language of online shopping.
Yeah, exactly. You're fluent now. And hopefully our listener, you're walking away with a sharper eye for spotting those marketing tactics.
Right.
And a deeper understanding of how to process and navigate that world of online reviews, because it can be tough. Yeah, it's a lot. It's kind of like you wouldn't buy a used car without going to see it in person, right?
No.
Kicking the tires a little bit, checking under the hood.
Yeah.
You got to do your research. Well, researching online, it's kind of the same thing.
Right.
You got to look beyond those shiny product photos and the marketing jargon. Really dig into those user reviews. But also keep in mind that, those experiences are subjective.
Totally. Yeah.
They can vary so much from person to person.
And don't forget about those subtle visual cues too that we were talking about.
Oh yeah.
That travel case.
Yeah.
Even a simple image can really have an impact on us.
It really can.
Yeah.
It's all about being, aware, being mindful of those little tactics and asking yourself, okay, is this actually influencing me based on what they're saying?
Right.
Or is it just, how they're saying it?
It's all about being a conscious consumer.
Exactly.
Being in the driver's seat.
Yes.
And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive.
I think so, too.
We explored the world of AI toothbrushes, uncovered a little bit of the psychology behind those prime perks. We even survived the sometimes treacherous terrain of online reviews. But this was about more than just a toothbrush, right?
Oh, absolutely. This was about equipping you, the listener, with the tools to really think critically about what you see online.
Yeah.
And to make those smart, informed decisions that are right for you.
Exactly. And those tools, I mean, this applies to pretty much any purchase, big or small.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up, we want to leave you with a little bit of a thought-provoking question to ponder. How much weight do you give to online reviews when you're doing your research? What tactics have you noticed companies using that maybe have influenced your choices or at least stood out to you? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you because, well, we're all in this together, aren't we?
We are.
This crazy consumer journey. All right. Well, thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you in the next one.